It's true, yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love this process.
So Lori, tell us about your process. How did you come up with the idea?
I'm a writer, so for me, even when I look at visual things or I look at pieces of art, I always translate it into words. And it kind of just happens. So fortunate or not, when I looked at the paintings that had the most impact on me, I was able to find meaning almost right away. I was really fortunate about that. And I wrote a lot and then I kind of edited it down for the purpose of the project. But what a wonderful experience, because I never really looked at art that way.
Right.
You just sort of, normally when I look at art, you sort of feel it in your heart usually, or you don't feel it at all,
Yeah.
right? So for me, it was easy for interpretation. I was able to write, and that made sense for me. What about you?
Are you speaking with me?
I'm speaking with whichever one of you handsome gentlemen want to speak.
Well, I didn't know how to react to art for a long time. I believed that it was something that you would feel, react emotion-wise, and not try to necessarily make sense of it, but sort of appreciate it on levels of technicality, composition, and then the way that you're experiencing it, what it brings forth in you. And so that was sort of the gist of how I experienced art. And then this experience has shown me that, and I should have known this because I'm a philosophy major, but you can place a lens on that. And that lens this time has been mental health. And using my own mental illness as a lens, I see that I'm not limited at all by what I experience. In fact, it gives me another way of perceiving. And then I've been able to filter this into artistic expression that I thought was lost to me. And I'm still really reeling with the fact that pieces of work that I painted are going to hang in a legitimate art gallery for people to see, which is something I never thought would ever happen in my entire life. And then I've always been a writer, much like Lori, so I wrote some things and put pen to paper, and so it's just going to be a nice conglomeration of artistic experience. And how are you feeling?
I'm feeling like trying to follow a philosophy major discussing emotional impact is just a futile effort. Like, I cannot put into words anything like what you said. Because for me, I have the creative side, but I also have a very rational side. So a lot of the process for me was how do I create a story through what I'm going to put together. So it was, the idea is kind of in response to the paintings. Didn't come as quickly as I'd anticipated, but it was a question of, what can I go to bring the viewer, the people that come to the gallery, what can I show them about my journey in a way that seems to me a story.
Right.
So I, as you both mentioned, I'm a writer as well, but I've also started doing a lot of creative work through graphic mediums, and I thought I could tailor them to this effort and do a written piece, a combined piece, and then an art piece.
Right.
And so sort of
touching all kind of different.
touching all of them, and it also shows kind of a progression, because for me, I didn't really start getting into art until I went through my mental health difficulties and found art therapy really healing. So to sort of come into art as part of the story, because it's all almost a linear progression for me.
Yeah.
A key.
One of the things that I'm definitely going to take away from this experience is the idea of how therapeutic art can be, because I didn't really think about it much before. I just kind of separated it all. But when I think about my own mental illness and what this experience has given me to look at it, to express it differently, to interpret it differently, then that's going to stay with me, and I'm going to look at art in a whole new way. Yeah.
Because I found also that when we write, we try to paint a picture with words.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be really frustrating to try and get it all out because it's boiling. You know, you've got everything in your head, but trying to get it down on paper.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if I can paint a picture in, you know, literally 1,000 words,
I'm just thinking because painting, because I'm not doing any paintings, and when you think about what Jordan just said about your art hanging in an actual gallery, what do you want people to know or to understand if they're going to look at this exhibit and know that it's through the lens of mental health? What do you want people to get from your pieces?
I don't necessarily want them to get anything from my pieces, but if I want anything, I suppose, I want them to see that, much like I already said, mental health doesn't limit you. It doesn't stop the expression that you have. If anything, it might give you more to express. And while I can't say that I was in some sort of crisis or a bad situation when I made this work, I'm still mentally ill at all times. And so I want them to take away from this that you can do it. This is something for everyone. Art is for everyone. Art is for the artist, and the artist is that which creates art. So do it. Put pen to paper, put paint to canvas. Just do it. Just risk it and do it. And it is so rewarding and freeing and therapeutic. It's just beautiful.
Again, I don't know if I can follow that. That's beautiful. What do I want people to take away? I think, you know, George has touched on a lot of the points, and being almost in a constant state of mental illness for most of my adult life. It's a constant that I've had to experience, and if I can share a bit of that and make people understand a little bit of what I felt, and maybe they can relate to that, reflect on their own mental state. And you know, one of the things we discussed earlier was everyone has mental illness.
Yeah.
Just, you know, obviously varying different degrees, and whether they realize it or not, or, you know, it's diagnosed or not. Everyone's got their mental health concerns.
Everyone's got their stuff.
Yeah, everyone's got their baggage. So.
I would hope that people would just see that having a mental illness doesn't make us alien. It doesn't make us, you know, completely different. And mental illness looks like me, it looks like you. And I think that's, to me, a win if you can get people to sort of start putting the stigma over here and just appreciate us, appreciate our art, appreciate our expression.
Yeah, we are not our diagnosis.
We are not our diagnosis.